Day one, taking the diesel out of the Cresta. Guys paid a deposit, and this week I'm going to try and pull it out. I've got the engine crane, bought that off Grandpa. Not my grandpa, just Grandpa. And we're now driving to Stafford Auto Electrical to see Adrian. The gas evacuated. Adrian did it for free. He gets to keep the gas, obviously, which, you know, he can filter and reuse. We'll take it back to him when we get it gassed back up again. So yep, that was very nice of him. I don't know whether other places would charge you to take it out, but I just rang and gave him a heads up yesterday, or I rang and said, hey, this is what I want to do. He said, yep, just give me a heads up in the morning before you come down. So yeah, took about 10 minutes. Pulling out the engine isn't such a big job. It's when you start to put it all back in that is the painful process, especially if you don't know what you're doing. I have a rough idea. Hopefully I've got everything. This is why we are making a video. So there you go. It's a diesel. So to replace that, we have around this, which is a 1JZ non-VVTi out of the same car from Japan. Little tiny turbo diesel. Now 1JZ, it's obviously petrol. Yeah, there wasn't a lot of information about doing the swap. So I thought, as I do it, why not record it, and maybe it'll help somebody in the future. All right, so I made a bit of progress. I'm gonna start by starting from the front and work my way back. Pulled out the radiator, took off the viscous fan, pulled off the bumper, and then just started disconnecting things. I have labeled them for the next guy and also for myself, so when I put the other engine back in, because the wiring's quite different, I'm gonna have to work out. There's, as an example, over there is the alternator wiring. The J alternator is over that way. yeah, so various bits and pieces like that, and different connectors as well, all that type of stuff. So yeah, all right, so far so good. I've got everything sort of unbolted from this side and unbolted from this side and put them onto the engine. Next step is to go inside the cabin, and the engine loom here goes through and into plugs into the ECU. So I'm going to try and unplug it from the ECU and bring it back out and set it with the engine. I've got to get everything undone at the top of the gearbox. I'm not sure if don't think there's a separate computer for that on this gearbox, but we'll find out, I guess. And once we've got the top done, we'll go to the back of the car and then start from the back and just undo the tail shaft, take that out, and then undo the gearbox, and then probably lift it out. So yeah, that's it for today, but yeah, we'll go do some more tomorrow. Right, so I've decided to put a 1J engine in my 1993 LX90 Cresta. Basically, there wasn't a lot of information on how to do it on the internet. So, I mean, I know like there's been other people that have done it, but it's just not very well documented. So I thought I would give it a go documenting it myself. Here we are. So originally it was just going to be a stock ECU, automatic with the stock turbo setup. A nice G-ready manifold came up for sale, and that basically threw a big spanner in the works. A Power FC became available, so I bought both of those. Once I had the manifold and the ECU, I decided to choose a turbo, 3076 for the response. The first things I got was I found the engine mounts in the USA. A guy locally had a gearbox, and then the guy with the auto gearbox actually had a JZX90 fuel tank. Now, from what I understand, you don't need the JZX fuel tank. You just need the fuel pump cradle. Maybe the JZX cradle just goes straight into the tank in place of the diesel. But yeah, got a tank, got a box, tail shaft, engine mounts. And then I bought the single manifold and the Power FC ECU. So my engine didn't come with an ECU. I paid $2,500 Australian for the engine. It seems like a good engine. It doesn't, it doesn't have a lot of carbon buildup, or it's not oil stained or anything like that. So that's good. I guess at least it's not, out of a Sora that somebody's thrashed or not changed the oil on or anything like that. I later discovered it had been converted to single turbo, but I didn't know this at the time. So I ended up getting some twin turbos. I got them for $50, but I ended up selling them because I had a friend who had some US delivered CT12, so I got a steel turbine. Jap ones have a ceramic coated wheel, and so after about 12 or 13 psi they start to disintegrate. So the steel turbine probably a little laggier than the ceramic variants, but you can push them a lot more. So while I waited for these steel twins to become available, the guy I bought the engine off, the G-ready manifold became he put it up for sale. Now, I'd already spent a fair bit of money on various bits and pieces, and I knew I knew that by going single, it would add, you know, 5-ish grand to the build, I think. But so I bought the manifold, and then the next day the Power FC up for sale, and I bought that. I slowly, as I began to learn more and more about what I was doing, came to realize that the Power FC won't run the auto gearbox. That's when I thought, well, really, I eventually wanted to have a manual. Why not do it properly from the start? And that was the same reason why I went single as well, was if you're going to do it right the first time. So this is just a little bit of footage from day one.